It's a beautiful day to do our biodiversity index, and so I'm here in my side yard with Hudson. Hudson, say good morning.
Good morning! Good morning!
And we're going to go ahead and get started with our data collection. Walking around the yard. So the first thing I notice is this little flower bed, and I actually used an app to identify some of these flowers. But I have the tulips here, and I had some daffodils, and then this is a clematis, I think, that's climbing up there. So I put those on my chart. I thought these little purple ones down here were lavender, but they're not. So I used my app to identify those guys too. They're pretty cute. Have a cypress bush, some ferns, and then these bushes. They're all the same, but I didn't know what they were, so I just marked them on the chart as a large bush. You can see I have more tulips, and I also have some lilac bushes. And then I classified these big trees too. Oh, look at all these rainbows that keep coming up on my screen. It's just so pretty. Ah, love it. Distracted. Big walnut tree. And then I have a ton of daffodil groups. And you guys, when I did this, I just did like clusters. I don't expect you to count every individual plant coming up, but you know, the groups of plants, if you can do that, that would really be helpful for your index. And then I used the apps on a couple of these little plants back here too that I wasn't sure of the names. I don't know if you can see them over by my air conditioning unit. So yeah, good stuff. Now that we have identified the names of the plants, whether it's their official species via an app or a nickname you've gotten, or whether your parents knew what the name of that plant was, or maybe you did already, you're ready to finish completing your chart. So as I walked around the yard, I did pay attention to the groups or clusters. For example, I had several groups of daffodils. They spread really easily. They're a native plant to Illinois, so we definitely like keeping them around. But I counted all those clusters, added that to my chart. I gave some of the plants nicknames if I didn't know their official species. And then I was able to take the total number of species. So how many different kinds of things I saw? Well, I saw daffodils. I saw a walnut tree. I saw a cypress. I saw a bumblebee. I saw a fly, kind of counting all those things. Those are the number of species, and then you need the number of items. Well, remember I told you I had a ton of daffodils. So counting all those clusters individually as a number, as an item. I'm going to take the total number of species and divide it by the total number of items. And I came out with a really long number, rounded to the nearest hundredths of a place, which came out to be 0.26. Which is a low biodiversity index. Remember that the closer you are to 1, the better. Can you say hi, Hudson?
Hi, Hudson.
No, you just say hi.
Hi.
All right. And so now I'm thinking about how can I increase the biodiversity in my side yard? How can I get more different kinds of plants? And then how can I encourage other plants, other insects and animals to visit my yard, which is pretty tricky. So that's where the creativity comes in.